This is a creamy garlic Parmesan one-pot pasta dish. We're going to cook this all in one pot. Simple ingredients. You got your pasta. We're going to use a chicken stock of your choice. And then you just need some onion, some garlic, and some parm. I'm going to add some parsley on top of that. You will also need a little bit of heavy cream, but fairly standard ingredients. We're going to start by just putting a nice simple dice on this onion. If there is any bit of green inside that onion, just pull it out and then just do this standard dice, cutting around the outside half, slicing through the insides, and then kind of making that dice downwards. You've seen me do this a bunch. This is just the nice chefy way that they do these dices, but this onion fell apart a little bit, but it's not about perfection. We're just cooking at home here. We are also going to get this garlic super thin. I'm going to use a mandolin for that because you want this garlic to kind of evaporate and become part of the sauce. It's going to melt down and be beautiful. So the thinnest setting you can on your mandolin. Be smart, unlike me, use a guard. I didn't cut myself, but always use a guard when you're using a mandolin. But these are just the slices you want to make. They are paper thin. You could almost see through them. They're that, thin. And that's what you want. That will break down beautifully. So we're now going to get a little bit of olive oil into a pan, and we're going to throw those onion bits in there cold, which will help them really kind of become nice and translucent and break down. I like to put them in cold when I'm making a pasta dish like this. You don't need them in there for a while, 2 or 3 minutes. They're going to cook in with the sauce the whole time. So once they really start to bubble nice like that, and you see a little bit of browning sticking to the bottom, I'm going to throw that garlic in and mix that up nicely. Let that become nice and fragrant, and then we could proceed with the sauce. So the key to this is the liquid you pour in is what will become the sauce, and it will be what you cook the pasta in. So we're going to use any boxed chicken stock you want here. The starch from the pasta will thicken up the sauce, so you don't need a super high collagen gelatin content. Pour in a bunch of the stock. You want to basically make it so it barely covers the pasta. If you add too much, it won't cook down and you'll just have too much liquid left over. So I'm going to pour in about half of it, pour in my pasta, see where we're sitting at liquid-wise, and then adjust from that point. I need a slight bit more, so we're going to pour in, maybe another half a cup. And I'm going to put in a dash of cream. It's about 1/4 cup. And then we're going to let this cook down and become a sauce. Keep it constantly moving. Your pasta will pop out of the water at some point because it will be absorbing that liquid, and it will also be evaporating. While that's all happening, though, we're just going to finally chop up some parsley. We're going to put a little into the sauce, and then we're going to garnish it a little bit. So just have this chopped up on the side. Always good to have parsley for your pasta dishes. Once it really gets up to a good boil, you want to start to move this around. You don't want it sticking. You don't want it to evaporate and leave your pasta just exposed. Really want to keep it moving. You see your garlic sticking to the side there. You want to really pay attention to this because this isn't just the water that you're cooking it in. This will be the sauce. So here you can see it is really starting to reduce after 5-8 minutes. Pasta will be out of the liquid, so keep it moving. It's the only way that your pasta will cook thoroughly. It's the only downside with these one-pot dishes. But once we get to basically 2 or 3 minutes from finished, I'm going to throw in some parsley. Let those flavors kind of develop by letting them get warm and kind of blend in with the sauce. And then this is right where you want it. You could tell if you turn the heat off, it would be nice and thick. So I'm going to start to add my parm. We're going to add in a good amount. Obviously, I eyeball this. I do not measure out my parm. You got to do it by feel. Look at how your sauce is reacting to the cheese you're adding and go from there. But just keep adding that in, mix it. At this point, you could see it is really nice. If your sauce is too thick because you didn't have any starchy pasta water here on the side to loosen it, you can add a little more stock or add a little more water, whatever you're feeling. Keep adding that cheese until you get the consistency you're looking for. You can add a little more parsley if you want. Salt it, taste it, make sure it's not too salty. The stock and the parm will add plenty of salt for you. And then if you want to get a little fancy, add in a little bit of white pepper here. That way you don't get those little black bits. But if you just have black pepper, also totally fine. But this dish is inherently salty, so be very careful when you add salt that you're not over seasoning this. But look at that. That's perfect. That's the creaminess that you dream of when making a sauce, and you didn't really have to do much for it. Let's plate this up, and it'll be good to go. This came together in 15 minutes. It's so easy to make these one-pot dishes, and they're so easy to clean up. Throw it into a bowl, top it with a little bit of extra Parmesan cheese. We're going to throw a little fresh parsley over the top. You could grate on some pepper if you also want. This is just, you get the taste of that beautiful chicken stock. You get kind of the cream and the cheese that comes through. It doesn't just taste like a creamy sauce. It's its own unique, delicious dish, and you need to give this a try.